welcome back to my channel. Thank you all so much for joining me here today for a new pick a card reading. For anyone that's new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Melissa, and today's topic is going to be exploring the question, why did they ghost me? So I really wanted to do this topic about ghosting because I know that as somebody who has been ghosted before, and transparently someone who has ghosted others before, that this can be a really, really difficult situation for both parties involved. Especially if you're the person that's been ghosted by somebody. This is like one of the most painful things that I think that we can sometimes go through, because it's like this person that we had whatever connection with just like leaves our lives, and we never really have a clear understanding as to why they did that. So it's definitely something that can be really challenging to get through, because it's almost like we don't really get that verbal closure from them to understand. And I think the first thing that we always go to when we've been ghosted is like, well, what was wrong with me? What did I do wrong? And I do think in some instances people may ghost because there's a conflict in the connection or something's off with it. But in a lot of instances, people ghost because of something in their own life that really doesn't have anything to do with you. And I just want to say before we get into our card selection, you guys, that if you've been ghosted, which is obviously why you've come to this reading, just know that no matter what their reasoning was, if they couldn't come to you and communicate with you with integrity about what was wrong in the relationship, that's 100% on them and it's not on you. So my goal and intention for today's video is to really help you understand from your person's perspective, why they needed to walk away from this connection, to really help you guys maybe get a little bit of closure from their side of the story, to hopefully help with you moving forward from whatever went down. Now, this reading is not only for love type of instances. This reading can also apply if you guys are asking about a friendship that broke down, or just any person in your life that just kind of left your life with no explanation. So we're going to accomplish 3 things with this reading. First, in the first part of the reading, I'm going to be doing an energy check-in and just kind of we're going to do some energy check-in on what the connection was before the ghosting occurred. So the first part of the reading is going to just highlight the dynamics that were at play between both people in the relationship before the ghosting event happened. This first part of the reading will definitely help you guys to make sure that you chose the right pile, because if the dynamics that I'm describing don't really describe the situation that you were in with this person, then you'll know that maybe you need to pick a different pile, or maybe there's not a pile for you in this reading specifically. The second half part of the reading is going to be from your person's perspective, specifically, why did they ghost? So we're going to try to get some insight very specifically into their side of the story. I'm also going to be working with some different message cards, so we'll get some messages from them. And then the final part of today's reading will be some guidance and advice for you, the viewer, should this person return. Because a lot of times people that ghost, they end up winding up back into our lives in some way later on down the line. So I think it's always good to kind of have an idea in mind of how you want to handle it before you re-engage with someone. So if this sounds like something that you guys are interested in exploring with me today, let's go ahead and get into our pile selection. So I'm working with 3 decks. We're going to be doing a lot of shuffling on camera today. So we have choice number 1, which is going to be the Muse Tarot with some clear quartz. Deck number 2, this is the Kawaii Tarot with some moss agate. And then deck number 3 is the Light Seer's Tarot with some hematite. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Think about the person that ghosted you. Go ahead and select the crystal or the deck that you are feeling the most intuitively connected to, really choosing with your gut instincts versus your eyesight alone. And once you've made that selection, you can scroll down to the description box below, where you will find the timestamp connected to your chosen deck. And I will see you at your reading. Hey there, pile 1. If you guys selected the clear quartz crystal with the Muse Tarot, this is going to be your reading all about why the person you're thinking about ghosted you, okay? So we are going to be shuffling these tarot cards on camera in just a minute, but we're going to start off, as I was mentioning in the intro, with getting some insight into what this connection looked like prior to the ghosting. So if this part of the reading doesn't really resonate with the circumstances that you were in with your person that you're thinking about, then this may not be the pile for you. You may need to select a different one. So let's go ahead and see. So our joining energy in the connection prior to the ghosting was the message of a deep breath. And we had talking, okay? One person in this connection was represented by the energy of confusion, where the other one was represented by gifts. And then clarifying confusion, we have fakeness. Clarifying gifts, we had self-absorbed. Okay, let's go in. We're going to shuffle this Muse Tarot really quickly on camera as best as I can without knocking everything over. And this is just going to give us like a little bit deeper insight to each person's position in the connection. So for pile number 1, this deck is really hard to shuffle, so I apologize, you guys. But for pile 1, let's go ahead and start with person number 1, who is represented here by the energy of confusion. Okay, so clarifying this confusion and fakeness person in pile 1's connection. Give us some insight into what was happening for them prior to the ghosting. So we had the Sun card reversed, and then clarifying person 2 in this connection with gifts and self-absorbed. Oops, hold on, one card please. We have the Nine of Voices reversed. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Emotions, which is the Eight of Cups. So there was this undertone of, before the ghosting situation occurred with this person, pile 1, with the Eight of Cups being here at the bottom, I do feel that there was this undertone of not feeling completely emotionally fulfilled in this connection. So whether this was romantic in nature or whether this was just a friendship or something like that, we do have the Two of Cups here at the bottom. This definitely feels like at one time this could have been a person that you guys really felt you were on the same wavelength with, on the same page with, supported by maybe for some of you, but there was this undertone of needing more. There was an undertone of feeling like there was maybe something else that could be more fulfilling. So let me just set these guys off to the side and let's get into this. So the shared energy in this relationship is a deep breath with talking. So this is sort of the energy that was joining the two people in this relationship together before this ghosting incident occurred. I definitely think that you and this person, like a deep breath really talks about our fears. It talks about anxieties. It talks about red flags. And I know the card, like, it looks extremely zen, but if you read about it in the guidebook, let me pull it up for you guys so that you can see really quick some of the key themes. This talks about a genuine expectation of danger, projection of a threat without substance, fight or flight mode, inability to focus, trusting in the universe as a way to release fear. So I think that both parties in this connection, and I'm seeing this really clearly in their energies, I think that as you were getting to know this person, both people had a lot of fears around connection or around the other person that they were sort of suppressing and holding on to beneath the surface. And I think that both people were probably really wanting to have a very like relaxed, secure feeling with the other one. But there was something bubbling beneath the surface for both of you that maybe felt a little bit off, or like perhaps, as that guidebook said, like you guys might have been projecting things onto the other that weren't necessarily based in reality of who the person was, okay? With talking here, this is making me feel like this is a person that you would have a lot of conversations with. Now, if this is like a dating situation, I kind of see this as like a newer relationship that never really quite got off the ground. This definitely doesn't necessarily feel like a relationship that was grounded or like, you know, long-term or had like a solid foundation to it. It definitely feels like something that was maybe newer and just being explored. For some of you, it could have been, but this is just sort of the energy I'm getting here. And there was an interest here in the other person. There was an interest in having more conversation from both sides. But it's interesting because this card, it also talks about like awaited messages or texting, calling, emailing, like hovering. So it's like, I think probably both people in this relationship might have struggled with those like anxieties around intimacy or anxieties around like trusting the other person in a way, maybe waiting to hear from the other person because they didn't have like anyone else to talk to, or maybe they just didn't have like security around the relationship. They needed like that extra reassurance, if that makes sense. So starting here on the left with the first person in this connection, we have confusion with the sun reversed, and we have fakeness. So I feel like this person here, the confusion person, was definitely really like in their head about this relationship. And I think that this person, unfortunately, like with the sun reversed, this is definitely saying that like they were very confused. And also I think maybe looking at this connection with a really negative or pessimistic attitude versus a more optimistic attitude, because the sun is one of the best cards we can get in a reading. This is usually about like things being very clear, things feeling very warm, joyous, and happy, confident energy. So with it being reversed, especially with some of these clarifying messages, it's like this person had a lot of confusion about this connection. They had a lot of confusion about maybe what they wanted out of the relationship, or confusion out of like what this other person's intent truly was. And so they were really looking at things with a very negative mindset or very pessimistic mindset. But I feel like they didn't show that, because with fakeness coming up here and with this sun card reversed, I almost feel like this person would have shown up as this like overly optimistic, like overly positive, overly happy sort of energy, versus just being true to themselves and saying like, yo, I'm just confused right now. Like, versus like communicating, talking about it. You know what I mean? They were just over here like wrapped up in confusion, but then like when they would see the other person, I feel like they would just put on this front that like everything was fine. The other person here, this is interesting because we have gifts and then we have self-absorbed and the Nine of Swords reversed. So with the Nine of Swords, I definitely feel that this person also was struggling with some sort of like fears around this connection, because the Nine of Swords really talks about fears and anxieties and preoccupation with connection, feeling really worried about something, being like up at night stressing about it. But this one is coming up in the reverse. So I think that this person over here on the right was probably a little bit less worried or preoccupied than the person on the left was. Or maybe they kind of had some fears around this connection at first, and then as they continued talking and getting to know the person, they started to feel a little bit more secure. We also have gifts here. So I don't know if this person had a love language of giving gifts, or if they had like, they like to give like little tokens of appreciation. Like gifts really talks about the love language of gift giving. So I'm sure you guys will know like what this is about. It doesn't mean that they gave like really lavish gifts necessarily, but it could just be like that this person really liked to gift little things that were meaningful to the other. Like, oh, I was at the store, I saw your favorite candy bar, I picked it up for you. Like those types of gestures were important to them. I also think that this person may have liked receiving gifts too, because we have self-absorbed here. So it's like maybe this person felt better when the other person was giving them like physical, tangible items. Maybe they just felt like they really needed to receive a lot to feel loved in a sense. I also see for this person, you guys, like that perhaps this person gave gifts as a way to inflate their own self-esteem. Like they would give gifts or tokens of gratitude, but it was really all about them. Like the reason they were doing it was more for their own agenda versus like really wanting to give because they just cared about the other person. So it's kind of interesting. Like I'm sure that you guys might know better. Like gifts is very specific. So I kind of want to see really quick, make sure I'm not missing anything in the guidebook about it. Let's see, here we are, gifts. Gifts. This is, almost there. Surprise, receiving a gift, joy, and celebration. Also, we have lack of surprise, stingy, not liking gifts or surprises, joy, renewal. So yeah, I think that this person, yeah, there was something like self-absorbed about the way that they gave to the other is kind of what I feel. And I almost wonder if like they needed to receive gifts to get to this place of security or feeling better, if that makes sense. It may not necessarily be super nefarious, but maybe it was a way that they got themselves to a more secure, less anxious position. So this is interesting, pile one. So what I'm going to be doing now is we're going to set these cards off to the side, and I want to specifically look at this person and like why they ghosted you. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle this Muse Tarot on camera along with some other decks. And we're going to be looking at why they ghosted. So starting off here, so for pile number one, let's go ahead and see, why did pile one's person walk away from this connection? Why did they ghost? So we have a King of Swords. This would be reversed in this deck, the way it's coming out. We also have an Eight of Wands reversed. And we have a Knight of Wands in the upright, okay. And at the bottom of the deck, we have that Eight of Cups reversed again. So it's like this person, there was definitely a lack of fulfillment for this person. They weren't really feeling like they were getting what they wanted. So whether this was the confusion person or it was the gifts person, like there was this feeling of needing to explore something else. Let's get a little bit of clarifying energy here. So Spirit, why did pile one's person ghost them? Let's get a couple of these guys and then we'll get into the full thing. So we have clarity. Okay. Okay, we have watching. That's interesting. Why did this person ghost pile one? Oh, and we have telepathy coming in. This one wanted to fall out, so I think we're going to take it. We also have the throat chakra, which has to do with communication. Okay, and then let's just get like a couple more of these guys here. So Spirit, why did pile one's person ghost them? We have patience. Let's get one more. And we have effort. Okay. I'm gonna I'll just do it like this. Sorry, you guys. I'm really weird about things looking neat on camera. Okay. All right, so pile one, what happened here? So definitely, I think that this person, with the Knight of Swords, or King of Swords here in reverse with clarity, it's like, I think that this person stepped away because they were just confused about what they wanted or just confused about this connection in general. I think that it's possible that this person was the confusion person that we saw in the beginning of the spread that was kind of like up in their head about what they wanted here. They needed to step away because they weren't really clear about what direction that they wanted to go with this relationship, and they needed to figure that out. We have the awareness about a hesitated truth will soon be revealed. So it's like, I think on this person, just as you were, pile one, they were dealing with some fears or anxieties or kind of intuitively detecting some red flags for them about this relationship. And so because of that, I think that they just needed to move away to try to regain some balance, try to regain some clarity about what it was. I don't know if this person communicated well with you about it. Obviously not, since we have ghosting going on here, but the throat chakra talks about self-expression of the inner truth. And so the King of Swords reversed would be not very good at communication. So either like before this happened, maybe you guys had like a weird conversation where maybe you were confused about what this person wanted. But either way, I think this person really struggled to actually like voice or speak their truth to you about what they were feeling inside. And so as with most ghosting situations, it was just easier for them to like walk away from it without telling you. I think this person really had a fear of vulnerability as well, because the King of Swords is like, it's definitely this energy of like not being in your power, not feeling confident in yourself, not really knowing authentically who you are and how you feel. And so not the best communicator. We also have the Eight of Wands reversed. So this person, I think, really felt that because we also have watching here. We have a lot of Wands energy, which would indicate movement, but the Eight of Wands reverse talks about a lack of movement, a lack of passion. Slowing things down. And then we also have watching here, clarifying it, which talks about someone checking you out, admiring your looks or work ethics, being seen, a double take. I almost feel like this person needed to slow things down because, again, like when I think of the double take, it's almost like they needed to look again a little bit more carefully versus getting wrapped up in something. I also think that this person might have had someone else or something else going on outside of this relationship that took that attention, diverted that passionate attention away from you. This could have to do with their work as well. Like this card really reminds me of like being seen at work. It even talks about work ethic here. But there could have just been an outside situation that drew this person's attention away as well. So in addition to the lack of clarity that they were feeling and maybe this red flag of needing to kind of slow things down, it's like there were other things going on in their life that they needed to be placing their efforts onto versus continuing to drive into this connection full force. We also have a Knight of Wands with telepathy here. So I do think that you and this person still have some sort of telepathic connection, like a 5D sort of connection. I still think that they have passion and excitement around you. I still think that they're very attracted to you, but I feel like this is all in their head. Like, I don't know that this person is necessarily going to act on it yet or ready to act on it yet, even if they are feeling it currently. But again, I also feel like this is why they ghosted you, right? So it's like maybe, again, there was something else that they felt more excited about that drew them away. It doesn't necessarily mean another person, another relationship, just something else in their life seemed to have also been at play that maybe you weren't fully aware of. So it looks like that lack of clarity. And look, here's the Two of Cups again here at the bottom. There is still like, you guys still have like a soul level connection with this person. Like, I think there is still maybe this desire to want to reconnect. It's just that right now they're in this place of needing to find emotional fulfillment, maybe within themselves too, you guys, because, you know, a lot of times when we're in this energy of like projecting our fears onto someone else, it comes from needing to work on ourselves a little bit. And so I think that we have the patience energy here. I think this person maybe just felt like they needed a little bit more time to get themselves together, but to also have clarity on what it is that they wanted and what it is that they were intending out of this connection with you. If you guys are still thinking about this person, this card really talks about they're not like the thoughts you're having aren't just thoughts, they're answers. So it's like whatever you're thinking, whenever this person pops into your head, it's likely a message. So let's get some of these message cards here. These are called Hidden Truth. We're going to just kind of see like what this person might say to you if they were being totally honest, if they were able to speak their truth to you, pile one. So for pile one, oop, everything's falling down on me. Sorry, you guys. Okay, so for pile number one, please, What would their person tell them? What was this person hiding? What would they say if they were being truthful? Okay, so we have, I can't be with you. Yeah, like this person there was something else going on in their life, you guys, that was preventing them from being able to put forth full effort into this relationship. We have, I have trouble with intimacy. Yeah. You know, it's interesting because in this person's energy, we had a lot of swords and wands. So this is about like their mental energy, the way they communicate. And then the wands have to do with passions. It has to do with like sexual energy sometimes too. So it's like, I think that this person might lead with their passion energy. They may like dive into things without really thinking about it first. But when it comes to actually being vulnerable and opening up their heart and being vulnerable enough to speak their truth, this is something they really struggle with, you guys. Okay, we also have, I want to start over. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting with that Knight of Wands. Like, I think that this person probably wants to come back in and they've been thinking about it. So if you've been having dreams of them, like I said, getting messages from them in your mind popping in, like this is because they're thinking about you and they want to come back. We also have, I'm not over you here at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, there are still some residual feelings that this person is moving through. What I want to do next, pile one, I know this reading is going really long, but I want to get you guys some advice about what you should be doing should this person return. Because typically whenever ghosting happens, people usually come back at some point. So for pile one, what is their advice should this person return and want to reconcile? Okay, that one flew out. So we have a Hanged Man in reverse. And I want to pull one of these healing messages for you guys too. So for pile one, what's their advice should this person return? We have time. Okay. Okay. So with these two cards, this is really interesting. The Hangman reverse, and then we have time. I do not wait on others to fulfill my happiness. So I think that you guys need to remember that if this person comes back, you know, like you guys have probably already likely done the work to really like move forward from this connection or try to see this connection from a different perspective here. And so the Hangman reverse is saying, don't get stuck back in a pattern that you guys have already been in with this person. Like, this is all about seeing a situation from a different perspective once it's been on hold for a little while. So what Spirit is saying is that there's no need to continue to put this connection on hold. There's no need to continue to put yourself on hold while this person makes up their mind, right? Like this is saying that you should probably just move forward at this point and work and go toward the things that are already making you happy or that do make you happy even without them. So it's almost like when they come back, if they're trying to say, I still need more time, please, like patience, whatever, you know, like you don't need to wait for them. Like you can connect with them if you want to, but you should still be doing things in your own personal life that bring you joy and happiness without them, okay? So pile one, I hope that this reading was able to help you out. Please drop me a comment down below. Let me know how it resonated. And if you guys did enjoy, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me just to get my channel out there, get my content a little bit more exposure. And I will see you in a new video soon. Bye. Hey there, pile two. If you guys picked out this Moss Agate with the Kawaii Tarot, this is going to be your reading where we're going to explore why your person that you're thinking about moved away from this connection. Why did they ghost you? So like I mentioned in the intro, we are going to start off by channeling the energy that this connection was in prior to the ghosting. So let's kind of see if this is actually a great way for you guys to determine whether or not this is the pile for you. Because if the dynamics I'm explaining are not true for your situation, then it probably isn't your message. So let's see what we get here. So we have the message of sacred reverence, joining this connection together with the engagement ring. Okay. We have one person in this connection represented by soul connection. The other person with communication. Clarifying soul connection, we have happy. And clarifying communication, we have therapy needed. Okay. Let's use some tarot cards. So let's go ahead and clarify this soul connection and happy person's energy toward this connection prior to the ghosting. The Queen of Cups. And let's go ahead and clarify this communication and therapy needed person's energy prior to the ghosting. We have an 8 of Pentacles reversed. Bottom deck energy, the 10 of Cups reversed. Interesting. Okay. Give me a second here, guys. I just need to like kind of tap into this energy really quickly. So I definitely feel like you and this person, whatever type of relationship that it was, with sacred reverence coming in, I feel like this was a very spiritual connection that you had with this person, whether it was a friendship, a romantic relationship, or whatever it was. This definitely feels like a partnership that was in a commitment of some sort. So it's like with the engagement ring, you guys were definitely like romantically connected, it was committed, or you had like a long-term friendship or long-standing relationship with this person for a long time. This definitely feels like something where you each put a lot of effort and energy into the connection, and you were on the same page around like what this connection meant to both of you. And it feels like it was something very meaningful here. Sacred reverence really talks about like spirituality, and it talks about feelings of joy. It talks about like exploring a really passionate relationship, exploring each other with like a very curious mind. So I think that you guys probably had a really like cerebral connection, like a really mental connection in a sense, where like I feel like this could be the type of person that you would be able to talk to about anything, or just really connect at the mind, as I'm seeing here with the soul connection. But there was a lot of passion in this connection, a lot of excitement in this connection, and it's definitely a soulmate connection, as one person is already awakened to here. So that is almost like making me feel even more sad that this person ghosted you, because it definitely feels as though this was a really meaningful relationship in your life, whatever it was. So starting here on the left, we have the soul connection, the Queen of Cups, and happy. So I feel like there was one person in this relationship that felt very tapped in to this relationship. I think that this person knew deep down that this was a soulmate connection. I think this person felt it, but maybe they weren't as aware of the level of the connection as this person was here. With the Queen of Cups, I feel like this person had a lot of emotion and a lot of love for the other. I think that this person, this is water sign energy, so this could apply for some of you, but I feel like this person really was very caring and nurturing and empathetic to the other person over here with communication. And they were happy in this relationship too. I feel like the other person made them feel really happy, but I also feel like this person was happy with themselves as well. Like, even though they had this, what they felt was a beautiful union with the other person, like, I feel like this person was happy and emotionally stable within themselves. This person really doesn't feel like the person that ghosted. I feel like it was more this one over here, and this is kind of what I'm seeing. So we have communication being highlighted here with therapy needed and the 8 of Pentacles reversed. So what this is telling me is that this person, I think that I feel like part of them, they had their own stuff going on, which is always the case, you guys, when someone goes. Even though like sometimes they can be upset at the other person, like deep down inside, when you walk away from someone without communicating why, or without having that conversation, that says a lot more about like where you are as a person, versus the other one, even if they did do you wrong, right? But this person really needs to work on themselves, is what I'm seeing here. They needed to work on themselves. Maybe this was something that they realized, and this was what led to the ghosting, which we'll get to in a second here. But you know, 8 of Pentacles reverse is talking about not wanting to put in a lot of work towards something, not wanting to put forth a lot of effort, almost wanting something maybe to be easy for them. And this could be because this person was struggling, right? Like maybe this person needs to go to therapy. Maybe they were aware that they had some other challenges and issues going on with them external to this connection. which they know that maybe they need to address. And these issues could have to do with the way that they communicate with other people. But with the Eight of Pentacles reversed as well, I almost feel like this person may not have had their stuff together out as well. Like, usually when we see this card coming up, this has to do with our work. So whether it's doing self-work, working on themselves, which I think was needed for this person, or whether it's doing like their actual physical work and getting their money in order, getting their life in order. It's like this person just had a lot of things that they needed to fix within their own life, whether it's in their physical, material realm or their emotional, spiritual realm. I do think that this person with communication here, like, really enjoyed connecting with this soul connection person. I think that they really, again, like, this feels like a very cerebral, mental, like verbal sort of connection where both people really enjoyed talking with one another. And so I do feel like this person enjoyed the way that they could communicate with the soul connection person. But I think, again, for some of them, some of you guys, this person needs therapy around the way that they communicate. I think they need therapy just in general, or they need to work on the way that they communicate, maybe just in general. But it definitely feels like both people were aware that this was a spiritual relationship, that there was some sort of a deeper, more like ascended connection than maybe they've both ever experienced before. And I almost wonder if this person over here was a little freaked out by that. You know, maybe they were feeling like this was going to be a lot more work for them than they were ready for. Maybe they were feeling as though they were undeserving for this type of connection, because this person over here is coming across as like so high vibrational and happy. This person over here is just coming across as like they're needing some sort of help, some sort of support in their life. But I think that it could, for some of them, have felt intimidating to have someone over here that was like so beautiful, willing to like connect with them when they weren't feeling their best. So that's kind of what I'm seeing as the overall energy. I want to now transition into the next part of the reading where we're going to look into specifically like why this person ghosted you, okay? So let's move these cards off to the side and let's go ahead and see. So for pile 2, please, Spirit, why did this person ghost pile 2? Why did they ghost pile 2? So we have the 2 of Swords. We have the 4 of Cups. And we have the 4 of Swords. Wow. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Chariot card coming in. Okay, let me pull some more from this deck here. So Spirit, why did pile 2's person ghost pile number 2? So we have a 5 coming in. We have guidance. We have home sweet home. Okay, and then I want to just pull one of these cards as well, and then we'll get into it. So, Spirit, why did pile 2's person ghost pile number 2? We have influence. Okay. And at the bottom of the deck, we have commitment, which is interesting. Okay. For some of you guys, this person, I don't know. This person feels a little bit insecure in themselves. Just initially what I'm seeing here, this definitely feels like that second person that we had on the right with communication and therapy needed. And one thing I want to say about this person is with the influence card coming up, this makes me feel like they were getting advice from people and people were maybe in their ear about this connection. So this could have been like friends in their life or family members, or if this was like a friendship you guys were in, this could have been this person's significant other, something like that. But it feels like there were outside people kind of in their ear trying to like sway their mind as it pertains to you and your relationship. And You know, something that we have to remember when we're asking for advice from friends is that any friend that's giving you advice is giving you that advice from their own perspective and perception of the situation. And sometimes we need to just like say thank you, but do what feels right for us. And I feel like this person, unfortunately, is too easily influenced by other people. And they're not strong enough in themselves to just do what they feel is right for them, okay? There is someone here that was in their ear, for sure. They care too much, I think, about what someone else thought or other people thought in general. So why did they ghost you? First and foremost, I think that this person is needing to make some big changes in their own life with the Chariot here. You know, the Chariot really talks about being focused, having a direction, staying the course, you know, having goals and ambitions that we need to achieve in our lives. And I think, like, you know, this person had that 8 of Pentacles card reverse coming up in the energy check-in. And so I feel like there's an undertone of this person really needing to get their own things together before that they would be able to like really dedicate to a connection. And so we have 2 number 4s coming in here. We also have this message of home sweet home, right? This is making me feel like this person had an unstable or shaky foundation. 4s have to do with stability. 4s have to do with the framework on which we're building our lives. And so I feel like this person, maybe when they were connecting with you, just had an unstable or shaky foundation. And maybe they knew that like they weren't really going to be able to offer you too much because you guys were so stable and you were coming to the table like already ready and they just weren't ready, if that makes sense. I think this person struggles with like making a decision here. And with the 2 of Swords, with the 5 coming in, it's like this person, I think, knew that they were going to have to make some pretty significant changes in order to stay connected with you or to stay connected with you in the way that you wanted to be connected with them. And so the 2 of Swords is kind of about being at that stalemate energy. So it's like they knew that they needed to make a change and they knew that it was probably going to feel really, really challenging for them. And I just don't think that they were in a place where they were really up to the challenge just yet. 4 of Cups with guidance. Listen more, speak less. Again, we're going back to this influence energy. It's like, I feel like this person was getting guidance from someone that really just had no idea like what was going on in your connection, or they just, like they weren't speaking up for themselves. You know, the 4 of Cups often talks about like missed opportunities, feeling like we've lost our chance with someone. And it can also talk very much about like having like a lukewarm feeling or a feeling of apathy around something. You know, you guys will know your situation better than I will know it, but either one of those things could apply to your person. Intuitively, for me, it feels like they think that they missed their chance, or they feel like they missed their opportunity. And maybe they went to their friends for advice or someone to advice, and they were just getting bad advice, if that makes sense. They were just like taking in all this advice, but they weren't really speaking the truth, or they weren't really like speaking their like for themselves. So yeah, I think that this person just needed to take a rest from this relationship, kind of like quiet their mind around it. We have a lot of mental energy coming through here, and we also had the Knight of Swords at the bottom. So this person could be an air sign, which would make sense. They have a lot of this energy of being in their head. And I think they just needed to kind of take some space to figure out like their own stuff. This very much feels like a ghosting because of their own stuff that they need to fix, you guys. You know, you were showing up as this happy, like loving energy, and you were like ready to connect. This person, I don't think felt like they were really up to your caliber. So let's go ahead and get some of these hidden messages cards and just see like what they might say to you if they were being totally truthful. So for pile 2, what would their person say if they were being completely truthful and honest with pile 2? Will you ever make things right? This person, I think, they come across as being a little helpless, you guys. Like, I feel like they would be waiting on you to come back to them to talk. So even though they ghosted you, it's like, even though they ghosted you, maybe they had like a problem with something. Maybe they felt like you rejected them. I don't know. But like, they just don't seem like they're going to be confidently and like coming forward to try to engage you in any sort of dialogue about it. It's like they're going to wait for you to do it. We have, I find you so attractive. So this could be romantic in nature for a lot of you. That's kind of the vibe I was getting. You didn't see my tears. This person I think is really struggling, you guys. And I know you don't feel the same. Like, this person thinks that you don't return. You broke my heart. They think you don't really return their affection. So there could be like a communication gap here between you guys for some of you, but like, this person, I think, regardless of how they feel about you, it's like they come across as really struggling behind the scenes in their personal life, and maybe they just didn't want to share that with you. So let's close this out with some messages of advice for you, my viewer. If this person were to come back, let's see what Spirit is guiding you to do with them at this time. What's their advice for pile 2? So we have a Page of Swords coming in. And let's just get one of these little guys here for pile 2. So if their person were to come back, what's the guidance? Oop, okay, that's the one. We have match. Okay. So let's read these a little closer. Match. What I want is also seeking me, and it is that energetic frequency that will draw these 2 points together. So this is about reading the energy. It's about kind of this vibe of like, if it fits, it flows, right? And when you are an energetic match with someone, it's going to flow to you very easily, right? I also think this is something that you guys want to remember too, because when I was looking at the energies at play, you guys were definitely, my viewer was here on the right, like you guys were definitely like this high vibrational, like happy, loving person. This other person was clearly not vibing the same for you. So I think that you guys may just need to remember that, like, just because you might have compassion and empathy for a person and you may see these great qualities in them, it doesn't always mean that you are a match for them, right? Like, Queen of Cups is what you guys had over here as your energy. So it's like, this is a very compassionate, empathetic person that would be very supportive to literally like anyone, even people that may not fully be worthy. And it's not necessarily mean to be a little bit skeptical like the Page of Swords would, and you don't necessarily have to let someone totally into your space just because you have compassion and empathy for them. So the Page of Swords is talking about remaining skeptical, asking more questions, being more curious before you just allow this person back into your energy field, okay? So hopefully this was able to help you guys out. Pile 2, drop me a comment down below. Let me know how this resonated with your situation. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you all in a new reading soon. Bye. Hey there, Pile 3. If you guys selected the Light Seer's Tarot with this hematite stone, this will be a reading about why the person you're thinking about ghosted you. So I'm going to start off by doing this kind of energy check-in where we're going to look to see what the dynamics were that were at play prior to the ghosting incident. Then we'll transition and see why your person specifically ghosted you from their perspective, okay? So let's see. Shared energy in this connection prior to the ghosting was in perfect harmony and cassette, okay? We have one person on the left here represented by family, the other person represented by memories. Clarifying family, we have another person, and clarifying memories, we have healing. Okay, and then let's go ahead and see with the family person, what was going on for this person. Let's clarify this family and another person energy. Pile 3. We have an Ace of Swords reversed, and then clarifying memories and healing. We have the Sun card. Interesting. Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have the Devil. So there could have been some bad habits for someone in this connection. There could have been some temptation here. Some sort of undertone of maybe like an unhealthy dynamic that was at play in this connection beneath the surface. And I do kind of see that slightly. So this relationship, before this ghosting or this separation occurred, we have the energy of imperfect harmony with the cassette. So I definitely feel like you and this person had a really beautiful connection. You know, this is making me feel like you guys just knew how to click with each other. You knew how to harmonize with one another. I think there was a lot of love here, and I think that you guys definitely enjoyed one another's company. We also have the 11 here, which is making me think of like a soulmate connection for some of you. And it's interesting because the 29 adds up to 11, which is cool. And then we also have 44 here, which talks about foundations. So I definitely think that this was a soul level connection for a lot of you guys, a soulmate connection, whether this was a friend or a romantic love interest. But what's interesting here is that we also have the message of the cassette. So kind of going back to this devil energy that was here at the bottom of the deck, the cassette talks about like outdated thinking, conditioning, replaying events over and over in your head. Okay, so I think that both people in this connection might have been either like allowing negativity about the other person to influence their energy, or allowing like old energies of the past to get in the way of the harmony in this connection. This also talks about rumination, right? Like replaying things over and over in your head, or letting old beliefs kind of affect the way that you're showing up in the connection with the other person. So that's kind of where that devil comes in, because this can be talking about that stuff too, you guys. This is like, you know, you've got like these thoughts in your head that are coming from this dishonest place, this dishonest source, right? Making you feel like controlled, or making you feel like the other person's, you know, not what they say they are, or things like that. It's like these thoughts that are just not always necessarily grounded in reality here. I want to start over here with this person. So this person over here, I think first of all, this connection definitely feels like a connection that had been established, right? This doesn't necessarily feel like a new connection, especially because we have this person coming up here with memories where the other person is family. So this certainly feels like established energy for the majority of you that picked this pile. But I definitely think that this person over here on the right has a lot of fond memories of the other person. I think that this person with the Sun card, they were bringing a lot of joy and uplifting energy into this connection. And I also think that they just felt really good in this connection as well. Like they were really loving being in the other person's presence at times. And with healing here, this person may have been able to experience a lot of healing in this relationship as well. This person, I think, also has healing energy, whether they realize they have it or not. They have a very uplifting, high vibe to them. And I think that this person provided a lot of healing to the other. But I also think that this person was healing themselves through this connection as well in some aspects. And this happens in a lot of connections, you guys, where you can heal. You don't even realize it, but there is healing that happens in almost every connection that you're in, even in a small way, right? So maybe this person here on the right was working through some of these like negative thoughts that could have like bothered them in the past, or trying to release like outdated ways of thinking about this connection or just relationships in general as they were harmonizing with the other person. Now this person over here, we have family with another person and the Ace of Swords reversed. So this person, I still think, had love for the other. Again, we have family here, which is like telling me this was an established relationship for them as well. But what's interesting is that I also kind of feel like this person might have had, with another person being here with a number 4, I'm almost wondering if they had a baby, or they like had other like family obligations that they had to take care of. So even if it's not specifically a baby, it almost feels like, because we have the number 4, that it's something to do with like their family unit or their foundation. So it's like they had other another person that they're responsible for, or they had another person that they were needing to take care of in a sense. And this may have like distracted this person away from the other one, which is making me think this is the one that ghosted for the majority of you guys. I also think too, it's like, because they had this other responsibility in their life, I feel like they had a lack of clarity or confusion about where the other person really fit into that. You know, especially if this is a person that had a baby, right? Like maybe if this is a scenario where you guys were friends with this person and then they had a baby and you guys drifted apart. It's like, I think that this person didn't really know like where they were going to fit the memories person into their life now that they have this other responsibility. There was definitely a lack of clarity from this person, and also a lack of clear communication from this person as well, with that Ace of Swords card being in reversed. I also think intuitively for some of you guys, like this cassette is talking about the connection maybe being outdated, or maybe you guys sort of, even though there's a love here, maybe there's an energy of like this connection, you guys just growing apart, right? Because this person over here really feels like they have other obligations in their life that are taking up more of their attention, whereas this person feels like they're more focused on themselves right now, which is beautiful. Like they're focused on their healing. They have beautiful, loving memories about the other person, where the other one, they feel a bit more distracted here. So it's definitely very painful. I think if you guys if this was like a friendship or something that you all lost from ghosting or whatever, like I could definitely see where that would be really painful for a lot of you and why you would come to this reading. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's transition into the next part of the reading, you guys. This is where we're going to look to see from this person's perspective why they ghosted you. And intuitively, I'm feeling like it's that family person that did the ghosting. So here's the deck. Okay, so for pile number 3, please, Spirit, let's get some insight for them into why their person that they're asking about ghosted them. Okay, so we have a 6 of Swords card reversed. Okay. We have a Hanged Man card in reversed, and then we also have the Moon card reversed. So all reversals, 2 major arcana. Let's see, the bottom of the deck, we have an Ace of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. Okay, let me get some more messages here, and then we'll get into it. But I'm already seeing pretty clearly what's going on here. So for pile 3, why did this person ghost them? Let's get some clarification on these three tarot cards here. So why did they ghost? We have pessimism. Okay. We have work through the triggers. Interesting. And we have third party. Yes, you guys, like that makes sense with that family energy with the other person. Okay, let's get one more. So for pile 3, why did their person ghost them? We have trust. Okay. And at the bottom of the deck, we have influence, third party. Yeah, so there was definitely another person or another situation involved here that I think was influencing this person's decision to drift away from you, group 3. Now, I do want to say this, like, I know that I was mentioning that I thought the family person was the one that ghosted, and I still kind of think that for the majority of you, they were the ones, because they're really showing up here with this lack of clarity, someone else that they're worried about right now, someone else they're responsible for. But I do want to say it's very possible that this person also was the ghoster because they were trying to protect their own energy, and maybe they realized some of this stuff already and walked away. But either way, let me tell you what I'm seeing here. So with an Ace of Pentacles being the undertone of this reading, this is making me feel like this person that ghosted you just didn't have it in them to put a lot of effort into this relationship. Whatever the status of it was, whether it was friendship, romantic, whatever your situation, they just didn't feel like there was potential here for it to grow into anything more. And I think that because they had other people or other things influencing them, it's like, I don't think that this person even had the space or the time to put effort in, even if they had wanted to. I think that for this person, trust is a factor in this relationship. Maybe they felt like they couldn't trust you for some reason, or and that kind of goes back to their own stuff too, you guys. Because remember, if they're this Ace of Swords person, we also have the outmoded ways of thinking, right? So it's like, I think this person may have a trust issue in relationships just in general, and it may not even necessarily have to do with anything that you did, but it's still something that is a factor for this person underneath it all. And with the Six of Swords reversed and pessimism, I feel like this person might have been feeling like this connection just wasn't going anywhere. Like, when I think of a Six of Swords, it's like we feel stuck in like a loop. We're stuck in this like rocky situation. We feel like it's never going to get any better, you know, because this card should be about moving forward, moving on, moving in a positive direction. And so this person, I think, was just feeling stuck in their own pessimistic outlook of this relationship. It's really hard for me to believe that the Sun person would have ghosted because they feel so optimistic and high vibrational here. But yeah, like there's definitely, this person had an undertone of negativity that drove their decision. I also think that this person was unable to really do the work to reflect on what it was that was triggering them about you. You know, the Hangman reverse is when we are usually taking an intentional pause in order to gain a different perspective. But once we've gained that perspective, we're supposed to move on, right? Like the next card is number 13, which is the Death card, which talks about changes and transitions. And so I kind of think this person was just like stuck in their head. I think that they were stuck in this negative headspace. I think something about you was triggering them. And I don't know that this person was willing to see that this was their own issue, right? This says it's a personal problem. Self-analysis will help free you from the projection. So I think this person was projecting a lot of stuff onto you that really had nothing to do with you. You know, and that kind of goes back to that cassette, the outmoded thinking card that we had in the overall energy. We also have the Moon reversed with the third party. I think that this person had a lot of fears. Again, like the Moon card has to do with these like subconscious fears that come up to the surface about a relationship or a person, and they're very deep, and sometimes we're not always aware of where it's coming from. But with the Moon card being in reverse, maybe this person was more aware than they were willing to admit, and maybe they just weren't really ready to work on those things with you still being around. And I also think it is because of the third party. There's something or someone else influencing the situation. Is it fair to all involved? So maybe this person on some level knew that like they weren't really able to give to you the attention that you deserved. They weren't really able to work on the situation with you. They weren't really able to dedicate time and attention because they have other responsibilities in their life that were taking precedence over this relationship. And so even though they knew what it was for them, they weren't willing to work on it, and they weren't willing to move on in a positive direction with you. So I think it was easier for them to just let things go. I think I'm going to use this other In the Shadows deck here to get some, just some messages from them. Like just to see like what they would say to you if they were being totally honest here. Like what is going on with this person? Why did they ghost? Pile number 3. One more here. Like their energy just feels very negative when I'm looking at this, which is why I wanted to use these cards. Let's see. We have You Did Not Break Me. It's like, it's almost like they have something to prove to you. And I don't think that you guys like needed them to prove anything to you. We are more alike than I admit. Interesting. Yeah. It's like, I feel like you guys were the Sun person with healing. I think this was you, my viewer. And I think that you guys had done a lot of work on yourself, and you were aware of your triggers and aware of maybe some of the unhealthy dynamics at play in this connection here. But it's like this person, even though they know that they have some of those traits as well, like they're not willing to do the work, right? Let's get another one here. I know more than you think. Interesting. And then we have, I hope you're happy at the bottom of the deck. So this person does have a level, you know, like I was saying, they do have a level of awareness of like what went wrong here. Again, it's just that they're not really communicating with you about it. I don't think that they're really wanting to do that work. So let's close this out with a message of advice for pile 3. And I just want to know for pile 3, like if this person were to return, what would be the guidance for pile 3? Like how should they move forward with regard to this relationship? So we have a Page of Swords. That's so interesting because this came up as advice in the last pile. So if you guys were drawn to pile 2, maybe there's something there for you as well. Let's get one more shuffle here. So one more message of advice for pile 3 about this connection. We have Sunny Side. That's so funny because we also have the Sun card coming up here. Okay. So Sunny Side says, I will not let past challenges rob me of opportunities to be happy in the future. And then we also have the Page of Swords. So this card is very much about continuing to be in this optimistic headspace, you guys, which I think you already are coming to this reading. This is about letting go of the past, really learning to release any outmoded beliefs or old events that are no longer serving you, because this was just one experience that happened. And just because this happened and it wasn't the best experience and this person ghosted you, it doesn't mean that you keep your guard up and carry this energy over into new connections. So it's like, you guys have to remember that you deserve to be happy, even if it's this person that wants to come back into your life. I think this is also about learning to let it go and move on, but remain skeptical with the Page of Swords. Like, this is all about asking questions, maybe keeping your guard up a little bit, not necessarily just fully allowing someone all the way back into our space because now we've seen their behavior. It doesn't mean that if you don't want to give them a chance that you shouldn't, but I think it's just about remaining a little guarded and, you know, not letting them totally in. You need to study the situation further, get to know what happened a little bit better, maybe have a conversation with them where you can kind of understand their position, their perspective a little bit more clearly, things like that, okay? So pile 3, I hope that this reading was able to help you with your situation. Definitely drop me a comment below. Let me know how the message resonated. Thank you guys so much. Please subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in a new reading soon. Bye.